and let's get started for Yin today. I hope you have had an amazing weekend. And look, the weather is going to improve for us this week. Little heat coming our way, thank goodness. So make yourself comfortable. Sit on your bolster. Sit on a block. We're going to be sitting here for at least 10 minutes in meditation. And as you make yourself comfortable, whatever you use, you might kneel, you might sit on a chair, you might sit. I sit on a bolster, making sure that, my hips are a little bit relaxed and soft, but my spine is long. That's the important thing, is that your spine is upright. You're not collapsing and the shoulders are rounding forward, so that you can feel the shoulders relax. You've got this nice gap between the earlobes and the collarbone. And then just take the hands into the lap. So you can rest one palm on top of the other and just let the wrists fall against the thighs. And take a breath in as you breathe out, then allow the eyelids to gently close. And before we get into this meditation here, just make any final adjustment that you need to make that seat comfortable. And as we still work with our 8 limbs of yoga, we work with 3 limbs today in our practice. And those limbs are asana, the postures, the physical practice of yoga. We work with pranayama, the breath work, the breathing within yoga. And we also work with Dharana, that constancy, that consistent focal and concentration to practice finding stillness in meditation. And we can meditate seated, we can meditate through movement, we can meditate in holding a posture within Yin. So I want you to think of those 3 limbs of yoga today: the asana, pranayama, and the dharana. So as you sit now comfortably, have a relaxed posture, yet firm through the spine, lengthening as you breathe in. Softening, letting go of tightness and tension as you breathe out. Taking a moment to breathe in and out of equal length, regulating your breath to a comfortable rhythm for yourself. And maybe you choose to count the inhale. Try and make that as long, slow, and as deep as is comfortable without forcing. And the exhale is exactly the same length. So maybe that's still the same count as you breathe out. And as your breathing becomes more settled, you don't have to think about it, it just happens naturally. Use that as your anchor for your meditation practice. So if your mind does start to wander, drift away to other distracted thoughts, return back to your breathing, return back to the count, return back to the inhales and exhales of your breath. And be at ease as you sit here. If anything feels uncomfortable, ask yourself, can I sit with this for the next 5 minutes, or do I feel that I really, really, really need to move? Can you sit with unease, or are you completely comfortable and relaxed in the asana, the seat? And as you bring all three of these 8 limbs together, posture, breath, focus, remain present, remain conscious, be aware of where you are, where your mind is, and how you are breathing and how you are sitting. I'm going to allow for a few minutes of personal meditative silence, and I'll let you know when it's time to bring ourselves back around to our yoga practice of Yin. Begin to take a few deeper breaths. Start to bring your awareness back into your surroundings once more. Release the hands to the knees and take time to just move out of your seat. We've been there for about 12 minutes, so just take your time. Just relax over the thighs if you need to release into the spine, or do anything that you need to as you come out of that seat. And again, maybe you felt a little bit of unease whilst you're sitting there. I taught a class today at the prison, and some of them had never done meditation before. And it's one of the hardest things is to still this noise, constant chatter. You can kind of block out, peripheral sounds, but this constantly continues to go, doesn't it? So it is one of the challenging things about yoga is really setting your focus. Let's come down onto our backs. So you can, of course, use your bolster. We're coming into a reclined butterfly, but for now, just roll back, release the spine, draw the knees in, and make sure that the neck is nicely in line with the spine. You're not tilting up the chin too much or tucking it to the chest. And just feel as you lie here that your spine can release into the mat, soften everything. And just rolling out through the lower back. Excuse me. And then taking your butterfly, soles of the feet come together. A little tickle now I've led down. Arms can come out to the side. I'm going to have to take a little sip of water. Or on your belly or on your hips. And just feel those three limbs now come together in your first posture. So all we're thinking about is the breath, the focus and concentration and stillness of the mind. And stillness of the body as you let go into the asana, the posture as you lie here. And noticing anything that comes up, messages from the body, and not ignoring messages from the mind. Breathe deeply, slowly, and equally. Each inhale fills the body with pranayama, and each exhale relaxes and lets go of tightness and tension. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. Take the hands to the thighs and lift the knees in towards one another. Take the feet wide, drop the knees together, and just realign the hips and pelvis as you need. Relax the toes and just soften into the inner thighs and the inner groin. Relax the outer hip and the buttocks. Quite often when we drop the knees in towards one another, we still hold tension into the outer part of the hips. And just allow time for process and recovery. Heel toe the feet into parallel. Draw the knees back in towards the chest. Give yourself a little sway from side to side. This time is legs up in the air, dead bug. Legs do not have to be straight, but if you can, try to keep the heels in line with the hips. So if you need to soften at the back of the knee, drop the knees closer towards the chest. And then take the arms up above. So the wrists are above the shoulders and you want to spread the shoulders out. So the toes are just lengthening up to the sky. The fingertips are lengthening up to the sky. You feel that all of the blood, all of the weight drops from the feet down through the legs, into the hips and spine. All of the blood and the weight drops from the fingers, the hands, down into the shoulders and the upper back and head. If you haven't already, you can close the eyes and just feel the weight dropping into the mat. So, of course, we have to hold the legs and the arms up in the air, but feel like they're suspended more than it's effort. Think about the posture itself. What messages are being sent to the brain through the nervous system? Try to be in that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, rather than the fight or flight. And beginning to wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, circle into the ankles, circle into the wrists, bend the knees, bend the elbows, and just drop the legs down into a happy baby. We're not going to stay in happy baby. I just want you to take hold of the feet or the ankles or the calves and just release left and right. Give yourself a little smile here. And then the next time you roll over to one side, just drop the body over and stay on your side for a moment. So softening here, relaxing, letting the body weight go into that side body. Moment of process and recovery as you just press through the palm to bring yourself up. And swinging the legs behind you, come into tabletop. You can pad out under the knees if you're on a hard surface. Again, we want to be comfortable and at ease with all of our postures in yin. Sway the hips from side to side. Give yourself a few little circles and moving meditation here with breath. So asana, breath and focus all together into your cat and cow. Breath in as you release to cow. Breath out, rolling into cat. Closing the eyes and really feeling that this is a moving meditation of the spine, all the way from the base of the spine right up to the very top vertebra just at the base of the skull. That means that the head completely relaxes, chin to chest, when you are coming into cat. And it gently opens as you come into cow. And the last time we round the spine, draw the chin to the chest, let the head be heavy, pressing away from the mat, scooping up the navel to the spine. And then release. Let's take our next posture of child's pose. Wide leg. You can, of course, use a bolster to lie on, or you might wish to use a block underneath the head, but take the fingertips as far forward as you can, and then rest the chest down. Bring the forehead down to the mat or to the block, resting the hips back towards the heels. And find ease. So if you're not finding ease in any of these postures, make sure that you move to a place that you can stay and hold. With yin, there is challenge to be found by meeting your edge. But we don't want to put ourselves into a place of pain or risk of injury. And child's pose is a wonderful posture to really draw into that focal point of the third eye as your forehead rests down. You're breathing through the spine, through the back body, through the sides of the body as you breathe. Full expansion through the torso and relaxing the hips back towards the heels, even deeper with each exhale. Taking a deeper breath in. Slow, long, deep breath out. Next breath in, lift up to tabletop. Nice and steady and slow. Bring the knees back into parallel. Just find that response, that processing of how you feel as you come out of the posture, and lowering yourself all the way down onto your belly, bringing the head just to the back of the hands, just so you can release through the torso. You can take the cheek to the hands if you've had too much pressure on the forehead here. Make sure the big toes touch into the center, and you can relax the heels out to the sides of your mat. Soften through the pelvis, the belly. Relax the buttocks. Let everything release into the mat. Coming into a back extension of Sphinx. You can choose to keep the toes together, always more challenge, or widen the feet to hip width, toes pressing down, tops of the feet pressing down. The arms come out in front of you. So your middle finger is in line with your arm bone all the way to the elbow. Palms aren't splayed out, or the elbows aren't splayed out. If you don't come up too high, release the elbows forward a little bit. Keep the chest lifted, and the neck is away from the shoulders. So try not to dip the neck into the shoulder sockets, pressing into the floor so that you lift away. Closing the eyes, drawing that focus back into the breath, the actual physical feelings of the posture, what comes up for you, and also that focus, that concentration, the Dharana meditation in Yin. You're letting the legs and the hips be as heavy as they could possibly be. Drawing the navel slightly back towards the spine, away from the mat. Lifting the chest, opening the chest forward to the front edge of your mat. Neck is in line with the rest of the spine. And the facial expression is soft and relaxed. You're pushing away from the earth through the palms, the forearms, and the elbows. So all we're doing when we work with those three things, the asana, the breath, and the focus, is just bringing stillness to mind and body. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, widen the elbows, roll down through the rib cage. You can take the forehead to the back of the hands or turn to the opposite cheek. Bring those toes in towards one another in the center. Let the heels fall out to the sides. Soften, relax everything. Respond to coming out of the back extension and just release into the hips as you just rock the hips left and right. Little sway. This is where we come into the first posture where we do right and left. So pressing yourself back up through your tabletop. You can use blocks for support here underneath the hands, and you can also use your bolster underneath your back leg. We are coming into dragon lunges. So right and left leg. This is mainly working into the asana. So the breath will be very, very critical here. So trying not to hold the breath in any way. So right leg comes forward. Just make sure that that's nicely in line with your front knee. Using that bolster if you need to support the back thigh. Hands can come down onto the blocks or to the mat. And try not to drop the chest. So you're going to keep the chest nice and lifted. Crown of the head reaches forward and up. And the neck and the spine are long, all the way back to the knee. Good. And then close the eyes. Find that focus, that focal point, Dharana. Long, slow, deep breaths here. And each exhale, I want you to feel that weight of the body transferring downwards towards the earth. Don't feel that you are holding yourself up. Feel that you are getting deeper and deeper towards the earth. Using the inhale to send everywhere around the body, not forgetting the toes, the hands and the head. And the exhale, relaxing muscle engagement or contraction, particularly into the buttocks, the hamstring, and the hips. Breath is so important here. Nice deep breath in. Deep breath out, release to the fingertips so that you can start to come out of the posture. Start by pulling the hips back, releasing through the front right leg and hip. Little stretch there into the hamstring of the front right leg. We're not going to hold there, but we're actually going to come all the way to the back of the mat into a squat. So malasana. Going to take the feet nice and wide, right foot and left foot. And you can, of course, use your block to sit on, but see if you can take a squat without the block for a moment. We're just going to be here for 1 minute. It's about 12 breaths. Lengthen the spine, drop the hips as much as you can, and even if the heels aren't coming down to the mat, you can be here. This is still a great squat to be. So 10 to 12 breaths. Elbows are pressing out the knees as you lengthen the spine even more, dropping sit bones downwards between the heels. Fantastic. A few more breaths. Being aware of any unease in the body in asana, using the breath and the focus for your benefit. Releasing the hands. Gently release the right knee down and sweep the left one forward. Come into lunge on the second side. So again, using blocks and using the bolster to support that back leg as you need. Dropping hips. You never have to go to your deepest point first of all, because we're there for a few minutes. We hope that gravity will let the hips drop even further. Keep the spine nice and long as you gently draw the navel back towards the spine. Close the eyes, find the breath. And instantly, as we come to the other side, we'll always notice some imbalances or differences. Just think about what they are as you feel between right and left. Reminding yourself that the breath helps in these postures of gravity. So as you breathe out, you soften, you relax, you let go just a little bit more. Thinking about the hips dropping deeper towards the earth. Taking a nice deep breath in. And that breath out, coming up onto the fingertips, pulling the hips back, lifting the front toes, little hamstring stretch. Just notice the response. And then sweep that leg back around. We're going to come back again into that squat once more. So widening the feet. Dropping hips between the heels, hands come into the heart center. Sit on a block if you need to, but try to use the elbows against the inside of the knees. Close the eyes and find balance. Notice right and left hip flexors. Let the weight drop towards the mat. Long spine, draw the navel back. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, and the crown of the head reaches up. Feel at ease. And know that you only have a couple more breaths here. Releasing the hands. So let's come into a dangle. So you can, of course, use your bolster to rest your head on. Turn the feet inwards nice and slowly, heel toe. Give the ankles, the feet a little release. Move the hips from side to side if that feels like what you need. And if you are coming into dangling, you might just rest the head there. Try and let the arms dangle. Or maybe you just feel that you want to come into a forward fold, bending at the knees, letting the belly and the chest fall over the thighs, and then really allowing the head to soften and relax. Try not to keep the neck supported in any way. Give that head and neck a little yes and no shake. And we're here for 2 minutes. So, letting the arms release down, away from the shoulders. Softening everything, including those toes. They tend to grip. Soften through the ankles, the feet, the calves, the shins. Back of the knees. Be aware of your hamstrings here particularly. Keep lifting sit bones up towards the sky as you relax through the spine. Breathe out, let go a little bit more. So all of these postures we did against the wall. So very, very different when you bring them just to the mat. You've got no wall there. Slow and steady breaths. Reminding yourself 3 limbs. That's it. Asana, postures, breath, and a focus of meditation. And release the hands. Bend the knees, release the knees to the mat. Maybe Sway the hips out as you just allow that release, and then come back to kneeling. Take the hands to the thighs and just sit nice and tall here. Let the shoulders drop and be heavy. Shoulder blades are dropping down the back. Spine is long. And just take a few moments before we flip around onto our back once more. And this time, if you use your block or your bolster, supported bridge. So you can use your block on the lowest level or the medium level for your supported bridge. When you use a block, it's very much more prominent underneath the pelvis. The bolster, you kind of sink and you indent into it. So it's your choice as to how comfortable you want this to feel. If you're at ease with the block in supported bridge, fantastic. So make sure that the buttocks just hang over the back of the block there, and you've got this gap between the block and your middle back. And if you like, you can then bring the arms into cactus. So opening up the arms, bent elbow, backs of the hands come down. Make sure the neck is nice and long. There's that space between the chin and the chest, but you're not tilting the chin up to the sky. So neck is in line with the spine, and now start to breathe out and drop all of the weight into your prop. Feel the weight of the pelvis and the hips just melting. The last minute, which would be 10 to 12 breaths, you may wish to extend the legs all the way into your pontoon. So take that nice and carefully, extending one and the other. And again, breathe out, soften, and let the hips relax over the prop. So you're in this rainbow arc. You might wish to bring the hands back down by the side of the body. They don't have to stay in cactus here if you've chosen to go for pontoon. So you are draping your entire central section over your prop. And this can feel quite deep back bend here, but it is a very passive release letting gravity work yourself into the posture. And slowly walking right foot back, placing the foot down, left foot back, placing the foot down. Realign first and then press into the feet and the hands, lifting the hips gently so that you can take that proper way and no rush to roll down. So roll down through the shoulders, keep the hips nice and lifted. You roll down through the upper back, keep the hips nice and lifted. Roll down through the middle back. Hips are still up. You're curling through the tailbone. And then the lower back starts to release down. You start to feel the top of the pelvis come down. Hips are still lifted. Tailbone still curling upwards. And then full pelvis releases. And you breathe out, relaxing everything. Draw the knees in nice and gently. Keep a space between the thighs. Let the belly breathe. So you can draw a thigh to each rib cage and roll out. And just allow that processing, that response as you come out of pontoon, which is always a little bit of a challenge. Circle the knees, both together. Knees go both together, one way and the other. And then you separate the knees and you circle each knee out. A few times, just release into the hips. Circle the other way. Then place the soles of the feet down onto the mat. Take them a little bit wider, so as wide as your mat here. Move all your props out of the way. Arms come out to the side and just drop the knees over. So it's a windscreen wiper spinal twist. So feet are as wide as your mat. And knees just drop over one way. And breathing in and then just drop them over to the other side. And breathe them in. Bring the soles of the feet wide. Knees drop in towards one another. Soften toes, feet, ankles, calves. Shins, knees. Relax the inner thighs. Relax the outer thighs. Let the hips and pelvis drop down in towards the mat. Slow and steady breaths. And we return to our first posture, which is butterfly. Heel toe the feet in, soles of the feet come together. And this time, take left hand onto the heart, right hand onto the belly. Relax the shoulders down, relax the elbows by the side of you. So just take note now as you come to a return of a posture, second time around. See if this feels much more comfortable and you feel a little bit more at ease than when you started. Breathe into the belly, the diaphragm, and the chest for diaphragmatic breathing. The three-part yogic breath is smooth as it flows. On the inhale, up the body, and the exhale, down the body. Release the hands at the same time as you release the three-part yogic breath. Take the hands to the thighs, lift the knees together, and just bring the knees back into happy baby. Take hold of the feet, the ankles, or the thighs, and just roll. Last time, side to side. And find your final relaxation posture now. So that is as important as all of the other postures throughout the practice. So if you need props to do that, make you comfortable, make you warm. Remember, the body temperature drops a little bit when we're being still. So take the feet as wide as you can to the outer edges of your mat. Let the feet drop out to the side. Arms come out to the side, palms face up. Lift the spine away and draw the middle and the upper back down so you can spread the shoulder blades. Drop the chin towards one shoulder at a time, stretching and releasing into the neck. And lift the head up, stretch into the back of the neck as you look along the body. Keep the shoulder blades connected there. And then release the head back down, giving that space between the chin and the chest. Point the toes and flex the feet, and then exhale and relax. Clench the fists, stretch the palms and the fingers, and relax the hands. Close the eyes, take a swallow, moisten the inside of the mouth, the throat, and the lips. And come into a place where you are not going to move, you are not going to fidget, you are going to find stillness in the body. You are going to find that steady breath, breathing in and out of the nostrils. And your mind will not wander. Find stillness in the mind, reduce the noise, and bring all three of those things now together: the body, the breath, and your mind. Beginning to take a few deeper breaths now as you bring awareness back to your surroundings, onto the mat, and into the body. As you breathe out, wiggling toes, wiggling fingers, moving head and neck gently and slowly. Stretching the arms up above the head, stretching the feet away. Gently drawing the knees in towards the chest as you roll and massage out through the spine. And rolling over to one side, just staying there in that embryo position. Knees are bent. Head is resting down. And trying to keep the eyes closed, move back into your comfortable seat, your asana. So where you began your practice, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at heart center. Palms of the hands come together at heart center. Make sure the shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. Your neck is long. Spine is relaxed yet firm as you just sit there. And just see if that seat is a little bit easier now after an hour or so of yin postures. You find it more comfortable to be in this meditative seat because the asana was designed to be able to prepare you to sit in meditation for long periods of time. So reminding yourself of our theme today, those 3 limbs out of the 8. Asana, the physical postures. Pranayama, the breath. And Dharana, meditation. Give all 3 of those a big thank you for yourself, and I thank you. Namaste.